Hi GOR, this is Unit 1, Lesson 5, and today we're going to go over parallel lines and transversals. So I have two parallel lines in each of these diagrams, and the transversal is the other line, the third line, this one that I'm highlighting right there. That's my transversal. So on each of these pictures, that line that's going up and down is my transversal, and my other lines are parallel. So in this first problem, we're just going to talk about the different kinds of angles, and then we'll try and solve some problems. So in the first one, I'm talking about interior angles. So basically, if these are my parallel lines, the orange ones, and the yellow is my transversal, the interior angles are the angles between the parallel lines. So 3, 4, 5, and 6 are my interior angles. They're smushed between the two parallel lines. Okay? In the one to the right, exterior angles are outside the parallel lines. So that would be 1, 2, 7, and 8. Okay, so that's just understanding the difference between interior angles and exterior angles. Interior are between the parallel lines, and exterior are outside the parallel lines. Now the next one, alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles like angle 3 and angle 6 right there. They're interior, but they're on opposite sides of that transversal. And number 4, angle 4 and angle 5 are also alternate interior angles. Now we're going to learn this down below, but alternate interior angles are congruent. So angle 3 is congruent to angle 6, and angle 4 is congruent to angle 5. So they're interior, they're between the parallel lines, right? If these are my parallel lines here and here, they're in between my parallel lines. They're interior, but they're on opposite sides of that transversal. Okay? On the right, I have alternate exterior angles. They also are congruent to each other. So an example of alternate exterior angles are 1 and 8. And then another example is 2 and 7. So again, these are my parallel lines. They're exterior, and they're on opposite sides of that transversal. So alternate exterior angles are congruent to each other. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 8, and angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. Corresponding angles. Corresponding angles sort of match up with each other. Like angle 1 matches up with angle 5. They're both above the parallel line. So if like I have this parallel line and this parallel line, they're both above the parallel line. They're both to the left of the transversal. Those are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are also congruent to each other. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 5. And I'll show you all the corresponding ones that we have. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. They're corresponding. They're both in the same position. They're both above the parallel line, but they're both to the right of that transversal. Angle 4 is below the parallel line and to the right, and angle 8 is also below the parallel line and to the right. And angle 3 and angle 7 are also corresponding angles. All corresponding angles are congruent. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 6, angle 3 is congruent to angle 7, and angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. Those are corresponding angles. Now same side interior angles. An example of same side interior angles are like angle 4 and angle 6. They're interior, but they're on the same side of that transversal. They're same side interior angle. They are not congruent. Those are actually supplementary. They equal 180. So angle 4 plus angle 6 equals 180. And also angle 3 plus angle 5 equals 180. And I'll highlight those so you can see those. Angle 3 and angle 5. They're interior angles. They're in between the parallel lines, but they're on the same side of the transversal. So they're called same side interior angles. Okay? And then we just have a list of the properties, but we've already mentioned them down here. Properties of parallel lines cut by a transversal. The alternate interior angles are congruent. The corresponding angles are congruent. And the same side interior angles are supplementary. Now knowing that, if I give you one angle measure, then you can find out the other 7. So if you're looking at example 1, line M is parallel to N. So these are two parallel lines. This line is the transversal. Angle 1 is 150 degrees. Okay, so this is 150 degrees. and they want me to find the remaining angles. Well, if angle 1 is 150 degrees, look at angle 2. They're right next to each other and they are sitting on this line M. So together they have to equal 180. So angle 2 is equal to 30 degrees. Why? Because a line equals 180. Angle 3 and angle 4, I can get very easily from 1 and 2 because 1 and 4 are vertical angles. They are congruent. 2 and 3 are vertical angles. They are congruent to each other. Okay, so all I did was I started off knowing angle 1 was 50, and I'm finding the rest of these angles. So angle 3 is 30 degrees and angle 4 is 150 degrees. Why? Because they're vertical angles. Vertical angles are congruent. Another reason why is if you look at 2 and 4, they also form a line. So those also have to equal 180. And 1 and 3 also form a line. So it either could be because they form a line with the angle next to it or because they're vertical angles. All right? Now I need to get one of the angles down here. I can either do like 3 and 6 or alternate interior angles. So angle 6 is 30. Or 2 and 6 are corresponding angles. So those are congruent. Or 4 and 6 are same side interior, so they add up to 180. There's a whole bunch of different ways I can get one of those angles, but once I know one of the angles, so I said angle 6 was 30, and again there's a whole bunch of reasons. It could be because it's corresponding with 2. I could say alternate interior angles with angle 3, and alternate interior angles are congruent. And once I know 6, I know 7 because that's a vertical angle. Or it's corresponding with angle 3, so there's a lot of different ways. And then 5 and 6 form a line, or 1 and 5 are corresponding. So again, there's lots of different reasons that will work for these different angles. And 5 and 8 are vertical angles. So it depends on what you see, but there's a whole bunch of different reasons. Once I know 5 is 150 because it forms a line, then I know 8 is also 150 because it's a vertical angle. And I knew 7 was 30 because it was a vertical angle. Okay? So knowing one angle, because I have those rules that the alternate interior angles are congruent, or the corresponding angles are congruent, or the same side interior angles are supplementary, I can find the other 7 angles. So we're going to do that on the next page, but on the next page we're going to have some equations that we'll have to solve, but it's the same exact rules, and then you'll practice some of these for homework. So in example 2, these lines are parallel. They want me to find the value of x. So really there's only 2 choices. They're either equal to each other or they're supplementary. So you have to look at them. And sometimes you can even tell by looking, like this is an acute angle, this is an acute angle. These angles right here are corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are congruent. They're in the same exact spot. So all I'm going to do is set them equal to each other. X minus 13 equals 83. And I'm going to solve for x. Okay, so I add 13, and then I get 96. Done. The one to the right, again, look at the picture, decide what kind of angles they are. All right, they're both interior angles. They're between the parallel lines, and they're on opposite side. So alternate interior angles are congruent to each other. Now this looks like it might be tricky, but it's actually not too bad. These are alternate interior angles. They're equal to each other, so I'm going to set them equal to each other. All right, I have 4x squared on the right and 5x squared on the left, so I'm going to subtract 4x squared. These cancel. 5x squared minus 4x squared is just x squared. And then I'm going to add 25. So I get x squared is 100. And this is very easy because x squared is 100. I just take the square root of 100, so x is 10. Okay? And this one down here in the middle, looking at my angles, think about what's true about them. Are they equal to each other or are they supplementary? These are same side interior angles. Same side interior angles are supplementary. So I'm going to add these and set them equal to 180. All right, these are same side interior angles. Add them together and set them equal to 180. X plus 3x is 4x. I subtract 46. 4x equals 134. And what did I do here? Oh, this was 60. Sorry. This was 60. So this is 100. I knew something was going on because they weren't going in evenly. So I'm subtracting 100 and just fixing that. Subtracting 100. In fact, let me just erase this. Okay, start over. So I'm going to subtract 100. 4x equals 80 and x equals 20. All right, then I have a quick multiple choice one. So in this diagram, the lines are parallel, so all those rules apply. Measure of angle ABC is 112, so just follow the order of the letters. A, B, C. I can even highlight it if that will help you. A, B, C is right here. That's 112. And EAD, so EAD is right here. EAD is in orange. EAD is 24. And they want me to find DAB, which is right here where I'm putting the dot. All right, now if EAD is 24, that makes this 24 down here because those are alternate interior angles. And if this is 112, these two angles right here form a line. So 180 minus 112 is 68. That's one way to do this. If this is 68, then this is 68. So if you look at this, we haven't talked about this yet, but this is a triangle, and the angles of a triangle add up to 180. So what you can do is you can take the 24 and the 68 and add them together. Okay, and that gives me 92. And this angle right here, I'm going to subtract from 180. The three angles of a triangle equal 180. So I add the two angles that I have already, and then I can find that missing angle right there. Another way to do this is that this is a line. So these three angles together, the 24, the missing one, and the 68, also have to equal 180. Angles that form a line have to equal 180. All right, and then my last problem right here, I just want to find angle 1. If this is my symbol for parallel, I don't know if I mentioned that. So you can actually extend these. These two lines are parallel to each other. I can even extend my transversal. That makes this 35. Remember, these are alternate interior angles. And then 1 and the 35 form a line. See how together they form a line? So they have to be supplementary. So 180 minus 35 is 145. All right, and that's lesson 5. So try the homework, use these notes to help you.